An Assyrian king dug up his enemies' kings, stole their bones, and poured salt into their farmland so nothing would ever grow there again. Then he wrote it down and bragged about it. He was dead within a decade. And the people he swore he'd erased were the ones who burned his capital to the ground. This is Elam. You've never heard of it. And that's the whole point of this video, because for 2,000 years, this was the one empire nobody could kill. Not Persians. Not Arabs. A completely separate civilization that ran the ancient world's mountains for longer than Rome existed, and history erased it anyway. Almost. First, a correction the internet gets wrong constantly. These are not the Persians. Persians show up 1,000 years later, and they're a totally different family of peoples, cousins to the Greeks and the Indians. The people we're talking about called themselves the Haltamti. Their language is related to nothing else on Earth. Not one word connects to Sumerian, Persian, Arabic, anything. It's a total dead end, linguistically, spoken for 3,000 years and then gone, with zero descendants. They didn't even need a founding myth. As far as the record goes, they were just always there. But here's what made them impossible to ignore. They were sitting on everything the ancient world's most famous civilization didn't have. Below them, farmland. Above them, in the mountains, copper, tin, silver, lapis lazuli. By 5000 BC, they were casting bronze weapons shaped like bulls and leopards. Beautiful. And built to kill. Now picture Sumer, the so-called cradle of civilization, sitting on mud and reeds, no metal, no stone, no timber. Every weapon, every tool, every temple door in Sumer existed because someone paid the Highlanders for it or took it from them by force. The most famous civilization in human history was completely dependent on a country. Its own descendants would spend 4,000 years pretending never existed. 600 Elamite raiders once hit a Sumerian town, grabbed everything they could carry, and got run down before they made the mountains. Other years it went the other way, a captured Elamite king dragged off in chains. Sumerian writers mocked them constantly. Cowards, savages, too crude to live indoors, according to the Proverbs, written by the same people who couldn't build a temple door without them. Some historians think the monster Humbaba, from the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest story ever written down, is actually a twisted memory of a real Elamite king named Humban-Nikesh. It's not proven. But if it's true, this civilization showed up in world literature as the villain, centuries before it showed up in any history class. Then Sargon of Akkad built the first empire on Earth and made Elam his vassal.
Elam has fallen.
His grandson signed a treaty with them instead, the oldest international treaty on record. The wording still sounds modern. Your enemy is my enemy, your friend is my friend. Every empire that rose in that valley eventually fell. Elam absorbed every single one and kept standing.
Behold,
by 1150 BC, Elam wasn't a mountain tribe anymore. It was an empire running from the Persian Gulf to modern-day Hamadan. And when its king marched into Babylon, he wasn't there for lapis lazuli. He was collecting 2,000 years of interest. He tore through Babylon's holiest cities and did something unforgivable by ancient standards. He emptied their temples. Marduk's statue, Babylon's supreme god, gone. And the Hammurabi Law Code, the actual black stone slab, the one still taught in world history class today, stolen and dragged back to his capital as a trophy. Here's the part that should give you chills. That Hammurabi stele wasn't dug up in Babylon. It was found in 1901 in Elam's capital, exactly where it had been dragged 32 centuries earlier. 3,000 years underground, and it surfaced in the exact spot the barbarians hid it. This was Elam's peak. It's the era that built Chag-Hazanbil, a ziggurat with a base wider than a football field and an original height taller than a 15-story building. Millions of bricks, glazed blue and green. It's still standing today. The best preserved ziggurat anywhere outside Iraq. Empires that peak this hard overextend. Babylon eventually beat Elam and took its god back. For 300 years, Elam basically disappears from the record. When it resurfaces, everything's changed. Assyria has become the most brutal war machine the ancient world has ever built. Next to that threat, the old grudge with Babylon stopped mattering. So former enemies became allies, and every time Babylon rebelled against Assyria, Elam rode down from the mountains to back them up. That loyalty had a price tag. Rebel, get punished, rebel again. Elam even beat the Assyrian army once in 720 BC. It didn't matter. Assyria always came back, and it always came back bigger. It came to a head under Ashurbanipal, Assyria's most powerful king, and unusually its most literate one. When Babylon rebelled again, this time led by Ashurbanipal's own brother, Elam backed them one more time. Ashurbanipal answered by turning his entire army on Elam, and only Elam. Susa fell in 646 BC. This wasn't a sacking, it was a plan to make a people disappear. Ashurbanipal's own inscriptions, his words, still readable today, describe smashing the temple's copper horns, scattering the gods, ripping open royal tombs, dragging the bones back to Assyria so the dead couldn't even rest in their own dirt. Then, in his own words, he sowed the fields with salt, so that the sound of people, the tread of cattle, the noise of celebration would never rise from that ground again. You can burn a city. Salting the ground underneath it is a different kind of message. I haven't just beaten you. I've canceled your future. Assyria made one mistake. It assumed Elam was finished. 15 years after Ashurbanipal died, Assyria itself collapsed. And in the coalition that stormed Nineveh and burned his own capital down, Elamite fighters were standing right there next to the Medes, the Persians, and the Babylonians. The nation Ashurbanipal swore he'd erased from the future helped burn his empire off the map. Then the Persians showed up, and this is the actual turn in the story. They didn't repeat Assyria's mistake. They didn't try to erase what was left, they absorbed it. Susa became a Persian capital. The empire's financial records were kept in the Elamite language. Thousands of surviving Persian government tablets are written in Elamite script. So here's the real answer. Elam lost almost every major war on record and still won because it never needed to win the battles. It needed to outlast the empire trying to erase it. Assyria vanished so completely that most people today have never heard of it outside a museum. Elam, through Persia, reached all the way down to the history books you were taught from. And from this exact land, the same ground Ashurbanipal swore would never grow anything again, a man is about to rise who will build something no one on earth had ever built before. An empire spanning 3 continents. His name is Cyrus. That's next. If this forgotten story changed the way you see history, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Fabelon Stories. Every week, we uncover the civilizations, mysteries, and legends the history books left behind. Until next time, keep questioning the past.